What is up? Welcome into Dollars to Deuces, episode number 26. We are finally back. This is a Toilets to Titles production. It's been a while since we've all been here together. I'm pretty excited to talk some AFC win totals tonight. We kind of talked about them a little bit last night with some props. Abe and I did anyways. So real quick, better welcome in my old friends. To my left, I guess my right, whatever. My buddy Rich, the Frito Bandito himself. You can find him on Twitter at Frito Bandito_FF, correct?
Yes, sir, Frito Bandito. Hey, it's nice seeing you guys, man. It's been a while since we've done this and everything. I know got hectic at the end of the season and everything, but we're ready for a new season, episode 26. Let's talk some AFC.
You know, Rich, I think this is the first time we've been on a show since you got Abe and I's beloved receiver, Devontae Adams, on your Raiders.
Hey, I love you guys. I really do.
Did you order a jersey yet, at least?
No, not yet.
Abe's got one I'll probably send you. It's just green.
Yeah, I get a couple probably.
Got a black Sharpie?
Yeah, I'm actually going to order a black and silver one soon also, so I'm still a fan.
Man, I'm so freaking excited, man.
I bet you are. I don't blame you one bit for that.
The Packers have to go to Las Vegas next year, right? I mean,
they haven't been out there yet.
I would think so.
It's
been
a
while.
like
I'm lifting my band. I'm going.
Yeah, we need to get on and see when when their next road game is, guaranteed at least. Obviously, if they get divisions paired up with the same seeding, then maybe it'd be sooner. But it's got to be soon. I mean, hopefully they don't play that Division 1 through 4 soon because it's on fire as it is. But
what up, Chris Videos? Appreciate you tuning in, and also my other guy here tonight, Abe at MVINFF. How are you this evening?
Good. We're good. We're happy to be back. Obviously, on the show last night, got a little taste of it since it's been since around the Super Bowl time. But it's definitely good to be back, to be talking football, seeing football on TV. Pretty exciting stuff this time of year.
Yeah, tomorrow, first preseason game, Hall of Fame game.
Yeah,
with my boys.
Do you get to wear your Raiders jerseys to work, or do they frown upon that?
No, I mean, I can't. I don't wear my jerseys, but I wear my hats every once in a while. So,
okay.
Fun fact, I'll be back in Vegas in 2 weeks. Company sending us over there for some R&R and a little training for like 3 days. So,
must be nice.
Yes.
Is there such thing as R&R in Vegas?
I was gonna say there's not much rest when I'm there, but I mean, I guess it's not really relaxing either. I guess, but it's a blast though. It's the best place in the world.
It is a darn good time, that's for sure.
Oh hell yeah! Well, let's get through these formalities before we get into the win totals. You can find us on Twitter at Toilets to Titles. Sorry, I did that backwards for you. And then you can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Podbean, Twitch, Spotify. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell so you know when we're going live. There's shows, like multiple shows a week or a night now throughout the week. IDP, we got college, DFS, just anything. To be honest, it's there every night of the week. I think we have something going on right now. So tons of stuff going on. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/toilets-titles. 5 tiers now, and it goes pretty in depth too. That the last tier definitely does, but I mean it's less than a cup of coffee. To join, you get in the Discord, pretty lively, a lot of good banner going on most of the time. So, I think that's it. We're good to go now. We did get these numbers from DraftKings, and that's kind of makes it easy like that. So we'll just start off in everybody's second favorite division, I guess, probably the AFC East. I actually look forward to that division because I like the Bills so much. And George's Dolphins. I don't really like him, but it's fun to watch him cheer for him. So
I want to say this is probably going to be one of the divisions, the easiest divisions to really pick your over and unders on.
Yeah, I went through all the schedules today. It's all this afternoon anyways, and tried to go through it. And it's really hard, because you kind of you look through one and you're like, yeah, okay. And then when that team goes and they're playing that team, you're like, I think I said that they would lose that game. And it's like, you have to go through a couple of times, but we'll start with in the bottom, the Jets. They got them at 5.5. I guess I actually have them going over. I don't know what you guys do. My guess, 7-10, maybe 6-11, depending on if that offensive line can hold up. I'm excited to see Zach Wilson. Obviously, got him some more weapons. CJ Uzama, I think, is a very, very big weapon for him. Joe Burrow loved that guy, and I think that'll help. Breece Hall, Michael Carter together. Their defense. We'll see. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Bob Sala's second year, I don't see them being as bad as they have been. Granted, probably still finish last in the division, but I mean, 6 or 7 wins, I think, is definitely in the right direction for that franchise.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the line is 5.5. I mean, they had probably one of the better drafts.
Yeah.
When with the players that they picked up, and I'm gonna easily go over 6, maybe 7 wins and everything. It's funny, I was reading earlier, they're saying that your man from Baltimore, Joe Flacco, is outdueling Mr. Wilson there.
Dude, Mike White outdueled him last year. He threw more touchdowns in like that one game than Zach Wilson threw all year.
Then I also heard that Zach White went 8 for 8 today. So I saw both conflicting stories in the media about how Flacco was playing better. And then I also saw that Zach had a pretty good run today too himself and was throwing a pretty sharp ball. So I have them at 6 wins. I did all of this last night without even looking at the over-unders first because I kind of wanted to see where mine kind of matched up with the odds. So I had them at 6 and 11. And as I was going through their schedule, I mean, they have a really tough run for a while in the middle of the season. I mean, I think it's like at Green Bay, at Denver, New England, Buffalo.
Yeah, I saw that.
At New England. I mean, these are all games in a row. It's just like, holy cow. I mean, you don't get a deep breath in the middle of this in the schedule. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen, with what they do. Starting out, I think they got a couple of tough games, but I think they have a couple winnable ones also. So it'll be interesting to see how they start. If they start a little bit stronger, obviously that for a young team like they are, I thought they had a phenomenal draft. Both New York teams, I thought drafts were awesome. So, if they start off and play a little bit better, you get a little confidence. You never know what's going to happen. So I have them at 6 wins, just slightly over the current total.
Yeah, they're going to get a majority of their 6 wins at the end of the season. I mean, they got Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle,
Chicago. I think they play too, don't they?
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah, it's going to be a second half, and they'll be tuned up by that time. They'll be rolling all cylinders to where they could pull off that at least 6 wins, I believe.
I do like that their draft pick where they traded up to get number 27. They took that Jermaine Johnson kid.
Yep.
That was really made that draft even better. It was like whatever. Anyways, move on to the Dolphins. Got them at 9. Rich, what do you think?
I'm taking the under on it. I mean, with all this, I know they picked up Tyreek and all that and everything. Offense is going to be good, but man, it just with all the turmoil that's going on right now, just up in the headquarters with the coach staff and everything. I
forgot about that actually.
It's just I'm gonna take the under. It's gonna be right there at 9. It's gonna be close, just depending on how they pan out. I mean, it's an easy division; they could easily go over, but I'm gonna go under on this one.
Abe.
I have them actually before I saw the line. I had them at 9 and 8. And just to kind of point out their first 4 games of the season, they always play the Patriots pretty well. But they have New England at home, at Baltimore, Buffalo, and at Cincinnati to start off the year.
Solid 4.
So I think that Tua is going to be tested pretty, awfully quick with, I mean, they could win one of those games, maybe 0 out of the first 4. That's a very tough start of the season for them. But then it really, really, really gets a lot easier. Their next 6, and I think they could win all 6, if not 5 for sure. But they have the Jets, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, and Houston. So it really, really, really softens up in the second, the middle portion of their schedule. And I had them going 5 and 1 at that point. So I put them at 9 and 8. Their backstretch of their schedule gets difficult, kind of like their first 4. They have a couple winnable games out of it, but that first 4 and the back 7 are very difficult. But those, the middle 6 or whatever, seem to be awfully winnable. So if they get on a run, and once again, have some confidence going into those later games, and get hot going into towards the playoffs. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but unlike you, Nate, I'm not too a hater. And I like their weapons. I like what they brought in. They have 37 running backs to choose from. So
Yeah.
at any point in time, one of those guys can go off. And I think their 1-2 punch in the wide receiver is as solid as they get in football. So, I like both those guys obviously quite a bit. So I think Waddle's, I think he's a real deal. And obviously we know about Tyreek. So I have them right at 9 wins. I tried to push for them to get to 10, going through the schedule, and I just couldn't get there. Every time I kept doing it, I kept being 9-8. So I did go through this one a couple times, but I had them right at the scheduled 9 wins.
I think George said last night 10.
Yeah, he said 10
maybe?
and 7. Yep.
Like you said, I went through it a couple times, and I took my Tua hate out of it.
Oh.
I really did. I did, because I mean, if it's up to me, they're going to be 0-17 until he gets benched. Well,
I mean, he might get benched after those first 4 games when, people might get really impatient if they start off 0-4 or 1-3, and he could play good in those games. They just have a really tough schedule to start. So we know that if the media and the fan base starts, barking and get him out. I mean, there's a lot of pressure for the organization to say, wait a second, maybe it's not, maybe it's time to move on. Maybe it's time to, and it may not be him, but it's just when winning cures a lot, but losing it awful does it. Losing does a heck of a lot more and can really mess with you. So we'll see. That tough schedule to start. We'll see how Tua kind of responds to it.
Yeah, for sure. And I am worried. I will say, like, Teron Armstead is phenomenal, probably a top 10 guy when he's healthy, but I don't think he's played a full season in a long time, and that concerns me. I mean, like I said, I'm concerned about the Packers' offensive line. We can talk about that next week, though.
Yeah, but one thing I do like the Dolphins' defense. I mean, that's a team that was 2 years ago. I mean, they flew around the field, and they were everywhere. They're ball hawks. They were everywhere on the field. Last year, it didn't seem like it was as solid. But you never know when if you get a solid run game where you're not down every game, where you can play your base set, and you can play your style of defense instead of trying to play catch up in a different kind of defense that's you're not really game planning for. I like their defense a lot too. So I kept trying to get them to 10 wins, and I just couldn't do it.
If they don't go above the 9 wins, do they really think about bringing him back? Do they sign him long term this year?
I don't think so. I don't think they can. I think they got to go a different route.
To be honest, I don't. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make the playoffs. They're done with him. I mean, I know I hate when you talk about quarterbacks and it's all like, oh, this is his record. This is his record. Well, your win-loss record really doesn't mean a goddamn thing, because you can have a shit ass defense forever. But if you've been playing well, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying he has been, but it makes it tough to go just off your wins and losses, but that's all that matters.
Yeah.
To most people.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
That's the first and easiest thing that people point out.
Yeah,
I mean, when you're struggling and you're just like, hey, you're 0-4 to start the season, like, it's on you as a quarterback. So you're the first person that gets the finger pointed at you.
Yeah.
Correct. Especially when you're already kind of on a somewhat hot seat.
Yeah, for sure. Patriots over under 8.5. I don't remember what I had them at. I got them under at 8 and 9. I like Mac Jones. Obviously Bill is the best ever. Matt Patricia is a dipshit, but I don't know I think he just hangs out there. I think Bill calls all the plays, both sides of the ball. Their running game is very, very good. They picked up 2 more really good running backs. We'll just see if they can, their defense will be good. So I don't know. That division, they have a very tough schedule. So we'll see what happens. But I got them under 8 wins.
You say that, but when you look at the first 8-9 games, I could see them pulling some of those wins out. There's some easy wins there, but man, I could see them going just in the first 9 weeks, maybe 7 and I could see them going 7-1. Just in the first 9 weeks.
It's tough.
Yeah, Rich, I actually kind of thought the same thing. I thought their first half of the schedule was really favorable, and their second half, I think, is very, very difficult. Yes. So when I went through this, I had them and I was going through it. I'm like, win. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. I need to, kind of pump the brakes a little bit, because I'm not a full believer in this team, even though you're dealing with the best coach out there. And I think a pretty good team, but when it all was said and done, their back half of their schedule is completely opposite. So I don't, that doesn't really bode well if you do make the playoffs. If you're going into the playoffs and you've been dealing with
lost 7 in a row.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like Bills at Arizona, at Las Vegas, Cincinnati, Miami, at Buffalo. I mean, it's very difficult to end the year. So it's a pretty tough schedule down the stretch, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna, that's gonna be right there. I'm gonna go over because I think they could pull nine wins out.
Yeah, like I said, it was tough. It was close. Bills 11.5. I'll go first. I got them winning like 14 games. Dude, they're good, and they're hungry. This is like, you guys know as well as I do. The window's not open very long, so
nope.
And they've obviously done some things to improve. I think Von Miller's going to help them more, almost off the field than anything. All the little nuances of the game he knows is going to be huge for that team.
Yeah, I have them at 13 wins, and that was pretty easy to get there also, because once again I find myself just win, and then I'm like, they're, as good as they are, they're still going against all these professional teams. So, I just kept finding wins for them. I think their first 3 out of 4 games are on the road, so that's kind of a tough start for a team like that. But I think that that might challenge them a little bit. I don't think they're a team that can actually get rattled, as we saw in the playoffs last year when they're going up and down with the Chiefs. I mean, one of the best games I've ever seen in football history. So, I think that they're a team that's definitely, probably the, a lot of people's favorites to not make the Super Bowl but win the Super Bowl. So I have them at 13 wins. I have them over the 11.5.
Yeah, I'm going over too. I could see 13, 14 just easy, like what you guys said. The only thing is I will go back next season and stuff, and I hope they don't go that same route. They lost against teams that they should have beat. And hopefully that doesn't factor in this year. Maybe they've learned from that. Obviously they will and stuff like that. They got too much talent. Yeah,
I think what helps though is they couldn't really establish an identity for a run game last year until the last few weeks of the season, and then even in the playoffs. And you saw a little bit of it. You saw some success with it. So maybe with that and their who's the James Cook that they drafted. I mean, I think he's going to be pretty explosive and electric out of the backfield. Not that he's going to be closing games by any means, but I think their backfield is definitely better. So, hopefully that will help those games that they should win and that they will win. Because that's very apparent. They have games, some real bad yawners where you're just like, where'd this come from? But I think that a lot of that was they just couldn't milk a clock and close a game because they didn't have the greatest run game.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm just, like I said, Josh Allen's fun to watch. So moving on to the AFC South. The first one, my sleeper team, probably the whole thing, the Houston Texans. 4.5 is theirs. I got them over. I don't care. People say they're going to be terrible. They might be, but I don't. I think they're going to be better than everybody thinks. I like Lovie Smith. The guys want to play for him. The defense played very well down the stretch last year. They're not like, they're not really, they're not that great, but they play well. Like I said, I beat the Titans on the road. They won a couple big games, down the stretch that they probably shouldn't have. Doug Mills, Davis Mills, whatever. He showed that he deserves to start, I think, in my opinion. Brandon Cooks, always in for 1,000 yards. Really got Nico Collins. Like I said, and I like Marlon Mack a lot. I do. So, like I said, I got him at 8 wins, 8 and 9. I may be crazy saying that, but I think they're going to surprise some people. I'm probably by myself in that. Rich is smiling at me like I'm an idiot, but it's fine.
Well, I was going to back you 100% and everything when you started out, and then I started looking at their schedule, and I'm like, but you know what? I am actually going to go over with you too. I see 6 wins though, is what I see.
Okay, I can deal with that.
I'm going to go against the grain and say no. I just can't buy in. I'm not a Lovie Smith fan. Has he taken some pretty good teams? But I just not really sold on him. I think that team kind of gelled together last year towards the end of the season. I thought they played pretty well also, but I just I'm not a Davis Mills hater or anything. I like him. I just don't think they have much talent around him. So I don't I think it's good enough talent to maybe compete in the SEC, but I just don't think it's good enough. I mean, once again, I could be wrong, but I have them winning 4 games. When I looked at their schedule, and they play a couple of 2 of their first 5, I think they can win pretty easily. But after that, I kept finding L's in their schedule. So I think that they're I just don't, I'm not a Lovie Smith fan, and I just don't know if they can get above 4.
Their backfield kind of reminds me of the Dolphins' backfield, though.
They got a shit ton of guys too. They draft Kier Strong or something. Is that the dude they drafted?
That and
yes,
Damian
Marlon
Pierce
Mack is their guy, but
Damian Pierce. That was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to a team that's actually good. Indianapolis Colts. They got them at 10. Rich, what do you think?
Under. I just look. I know they brought in Ryan.
That down right now.
What happened?
Justin's going to shut the whole show off right now.
I mean, 10 wins, man, in the AFC. Look, just not that. You got to think AFC. I don't know if they do they play any of the AF West teams.
Oh yeah.
See, that's the thing that really factors into a lot of all these teams that are going to have to play against them. 10 wins, man. That's if they stay healthy, they'll be pushing right there at 10.
They'll win 6 games in their division. They're going to beat the Titans aren't good, and the Jaguars stink, and they're going to beat the Texans both times. Even though they lost to the Jaguars last year, it doesn't matter. That's 6 wins in my opinion that they will easily take. Even if Darius Leonard's on the field, Bobby O'Kerke, whatever, he's very, very good. Yeah. And I don't know. I think I love Darius Leonard, but sometimes when you watch him, it's almost like he guesses and gets it right more than he gets it wrong. I mean, but he's just a really good athlete, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, I'm pissed they traded Rocky Sin. He was like my favorite cornerback ever, probably because he had a cool name. But yeah, he's on the Raiders now.
Fun football name, yeah.
Yeah. That's the jersey you need, Rich. That old Temple Owl. Rocky Sin. He's stud.
I do need to get a defensive jersey, but it's going to be Max Crosby.
Well, that's fine too.
He's pretty good too.
Yeah.
I have the Colts over. Nate, you heard me last night. I have love for the Colts this year. Not that I don't think they're great. I mean, they don't have, besides Taylor, they don't have a ton of weapons that are great. But kind of like what Matt Ryan, I saw an interview with Matt Ryan the other day. And he said, we got ballers. We don't have standout guys. He's like, I don't have a Julio, or I don't have a Roddy White, or he's like, I don't have that. Right. But he goes, I got 4 or 5 wide receivers that are flat out ballers. And so by him saying that, I was like, oh, maybe this team, and that kind of convinced me and kind of pushed me over the line when I was watching them the other day. And then obviously talking about it last night, I think Matt Ryan's a little long in the tooth. I don't know if he's quite the guy that can take them to a Super Bowl. But I do think that with the run game, if Johnny Taylor stays healthy and that stud offensive line, and a really solid defense in a pretty weak division, I think that they can go a long way. We saw them last year. I had money on the Titans to win the division last year. And Titans got off to a pretty good start and Indy didn't. And then Indy got hot and worried me a little bit. So it's a team that I think can get going. We saw them kind of fail miserably down the stretch last year to not make the playoffs. But I think that's kind of kept in their mind. And I think they have a good team that is in a weak division. And I think they have some of the ingredients to be good in January by a strong running game, a strong O-line, a strong defense, good kicker, good special teams.
Yeah.
So I think that's a team that is, I had them at 11 when I was going through their schedule.
Yeah. I think I got them at 12 wins. Matt Ryan, for me, like you said, he's not like, he's an older guy now, but he's never played behind an offensive line that's this good. His offensive line's been trash in Atlanta for years. And I think that's going to be huge for him. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor. I like Michael Pittman a lot. Alec Pierce, I think, is going to be good. Hopefully, Paris Campbell can play. Who knows what will really happen? And I don't know. I love Frank Reich too. I know Justin doesn't like him, but I think most people don't like their own head coach. They like other teams' head coaches better. That's
Except
just me.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, you don't know yet. Hey, just wait. But I do. I think like I said, weak division, and they can just they're built to run the football. So.
It's a weak division. It's a weak division, and the more you guys talk, I'm just going to go and even push on this. 10 wins is right there for them.
Yeah, it was close. Like I say, I mean, very close. Tennessee Titans, their over-under's 9. I have winning 6 games. I don't think they're good. I'm sorry. Brian Tannehill's not good. Derrick Henry's the only thing that's good. Their defense, they have the best safety in the NFL probably, and Kevin Byard, but I don't think they're good. They have a very tough schedule. You know, they've proven that they don't win some games that they should. I guess a lot of teams do that, but yeah, I have no confidence in that team. 6 wins.
Yeah, I have them at 8-9/9-8. I could not come up with whatever way it was, and like I said, once again, this was last night before I looked at the lines. So, and I don't kind of the same thing. I like Derrick Henry. I mean, Nate, you and I have always been a big fan of Bobby Trees.
No, yeah.
And I heard he's been practicing without even a knee brace, so that's positive news. I like when they traded away AJ. I like that they got Treylon Burks. I think he's pretty good. But I think they have a couple of guys that can be forces on the offensive side. I don't know. I'm just not really sold on them. Tannehill's hard for me to just say like, wow, this guy's going to get it done. And when you have Derrick Henry back there, I just think we're going to see a little bit of a fall off from him compared to his last 2 phenomenal seasons when he has been healthy. So I just can't get on board with them getting above 8 or 9 wins. I'm kind of right at that 8 or 9 win, and that's the only place I can get them. So
yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys because I'm at 9 wins. I mean, it's another push for me. I you know what? No, it's just straight under. I don't see them going over 9. They're gonna struggle to make 9. It's just what you said about Henry and stuff. He's gonna start out strong, but I think he's just not gonna have that season like he's been with all the carries he's had and then the injury. I like Burks. I like Woods. I think you know what? I think that's more of a strong suit for them this year is having those 2 there. Even with them losing AJ Brown and everything, I really don't see them taking a step back or anything because of that, because of Burks and everything. I really believe in him. When I went into the season, Drake London was my number 1 receiver, but the more I just watch and just see and hear about him, look, I feel like I keep on going back to this. Everybody was saying about Jamar Chase, how his preseason last year, he can't catch a ball, and everybody's talking about Burks' asthma and everything, and all of a sudden, and I just think he's going to have an awesome season.
Yeah, the one thing too, and I think that'll be tougher. They're gonna see 8 in the box all the time. I mean, and like I said, I love Bobby Trees and Burks, but you're gonna put one guy on those guys and make him beat you. Make Tannehill beat you, and
I don't even know who his tight end is. I don't. I mean, I've been sitting here trying to think.
Is it still Firsker, or is he still there?
That's Austin Hooper now.
Oh, yeah.
Is it right. Hooper? Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and
because I'm like, I don't think he even has someone that he can throw a seam route to. So, but Hooper's not. I mean, he's serviceable.
Yeah.
Serviceable.
So, yeah. On to the Jacksonville Trash Jaguars. 6.5. Anybody want to go? I'm pretty sure it's all.
I just had them under at 5.
Under,
That's about all I have.
I get them at 4. 4 and 13.
I had them at 5 and 12. So
I know Doug Peterson, quarterback guy. I'm sorry, man. They just. I don't know. I don't know what.
I think they're going to be better than what they were.
Yeah.
But I just don't see a lot. So I mean, when you go, I don't understand why you pay that much money for a Christian Kirk. Like of those things I just don't get, and that's one of them. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
The NFL's pissed at the Browns for paying Watson all that money. Somebody should be pissed at Shad Khan for paying Christian Kirk all that goddamn money, because that's what started all the receivers getting all the money.
Yes, that's where that's what really started all for sure.
But yeah, I don't see it, and I don't know. Maybe eventually, but what do you think, Rich? Same thing?
Yeah, it's under. Just don't see it happening.
No. Moving on, AFC North. This was like early today. The Browns total was still there. It's gone now with the recent news that NFL is going to appeal the suspension. I don't want to talk about that because I'm so over it. Sorry, but we'll just keep up with it. The Browns total was 9.5 for the show's sake. And I have that being was when I heard they were going to change it, and I'm like, okay, Watson's probably missing the whole year, and it was still at 9.5. If that's okay with you guys, I didn't do it 2 times with Watson and without. I just did it with as Brissett being there. Obviously, it's under like 5 wins, maybe, is what I got him at with Brissett. So that total is probably going to change to that 4.5, 5.5 in region. That's my guess, anyways. I know their defense is still very good, and they have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, so that'll help. But Brissett is a good backup. He's never really shown, that he's the guy. He's had New England, Indianapolis, and Miami. He's not bad, but he's not Deshaun Watson.
No, he's a good second string quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good second string quarterback. He's not someone that you want to have as your starter, but he's a serviceable guy that can, especially when you at the time assumed or thought, hey, you know what, our guy is coming back, 40% through the season, and we're good to go after that. But
because they start out 3-3, 4-2, even with Brissett there, and then it's different going on. But
so and like I said, I looked at these last night. I only had them at 6 wins, even with Deshaun Watson playing. I'm just not sold on them. They're the Browns to me, and I, for a while we wanted to hype up the Browns and get excited about them because they brought in Baker and they brought in Landry and they brought in Odell, and their running backs were, in my opinion, probably top 1-2 punch in football for the last 3 or 4 years. Their defense has always been really good, but when it comes down to it, when I'm going through this, they're still the Browns, and I just don't think with
they say Brown's gonna Brown
with I just don't think with Brissett and even Deshaun Watson. I mean, when he comes back from a suspension, he comes if he comes back, and he were to come back in week 7. I mean, you can't go light up a field when you haven't played in 2 years. I mean, it's just that's hard to do. I mean, this game of football is the best of the best. And it's when you sit out a year or 6 months or even 4 games or 6 games, it's tough to come back. And when you come back and you sit out a year and a half and your only guys you can throw to are Donovan Peoples-Jones and possibly Amari Cooper if he's healthy.
David Bell.
Yeah.
I like David Bell.
Yeah. And I like DPG, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
But I love Njoku.
But I think Njoku's going to have a better year this year. But when you look at that, it's just like I just don't see him coming in and lighting up scoreboards right away because I think it's difficult. I think that's so hard that people don't get to do what he's going to do and come in the middle of a season and have the scrutiny that he's had.
Oh God,
even if this does pass,
would have been ruthless.
Yes,
going into Baltimore that week back.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's pretty tough. And I know, Nate, I know you're a huge Nick Chubb fan. I am too. I think that running back combo is awesome. But I didn't realize this, and I actually looked this up. Nick Chubb is older than Ezekiel Elliott. And so, he's got a little wear on his tires by now. I mean, he's only 27, which isn't too old, but I think that he's getting that's one team that I just don't see. I just see them being the Browns. And so I only have them at 6 wins, regardless if Deshaun plays or not. And I don't think he's gonna. So
no.
So I think that it's going to be, I think the over-under will probably move to 6. And I just don't see that. I still don't see them getting there. So
no. I got them under. So
yeah, I'm taking the under too. I mean, I can see them. You kind of hit on it with Brissett starting out. I can see them going 4-2 in the first 6 games and everything. And then when Deshaun comes back, if he comes back and everything, I can see them struggling the rest of the season and everything. Where they got some tough games. I mean, they got some easy games at the very end, but it's just one of those things too. It's just he has not played for over a year, just like what Abe was saying.
Did he play well in the cold, by the way? I've never asked anybody that. Like, he went to Clemson, and he's played for the Houston Texans. Like, what? I mean, like, Tua does not do well in cold weather. There's a lot of guys that don't.
I mean, like, Watson was so good everywhere for that year that he was pretty awesome. Another thing too to think about is what if they do start out 4-2 or 5-1 with Brissett? I mean, like, now all of a sudden you bench this guy, and obviously Watson is the big money maker and all that stuff, but you may have a couple of the positional players that have got a camaraderie with Brissett and be like, wait a second, this ain't broke. Why are we trying to fix it? And then you have another issue in the clubhouse or in the locker room that is just, I think it's just so difficult to deal with. So I just think, and it's not like they're an organization that does well with
makes really good decisions all the time.
When their backs are up against the wall, it's not like they do really good with that. Hey. So I think that they'll just be the Browns, and I just don't see them, no matter what the over under moves to. I think they're going to hit the under.
Now, if Watson doesn't come back and Brissett struggles down the stretch, is Josh Rosen going to start an NFL game this year?
I mean, yeah, I think so. Why else would you go get him? I mean,
Rich says no.
No, I hope not. I hope we do not see him at all. Just
take
take your lumps.
Get him on your dynasty.
They're the Browns, though.
I mean, it ain't like they could tank and go for another QB and stuff like that. They're stuck with his QB. So
True. Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. All right. Ravens 9.5. I don't remember what I said. Abe, go ahead.
Hold on. Let me pull it back up here. I have Ravens at 10-7 is what I have Baltimore at. I don't have anything written down to them. I just had them at 10-7. I do know that I was going back and forth on them on a couple different games and just ended up at 10-7. Great coach, been there. I think that Lamar's Lamar. I think he obviously struggles to throw the ball, but I think they're a little hungry this year. It depends on, if they're going to be starting a 7th string running back or not. I mean, they did that last year and were pretty successful. So, I don't know. I don't think they're a 10-win team, but when I went through their schedule, I just kept finding 10 wins.
Yeah, I got them over. I think I have like 11 or 12 wins. I don't know, and I said it last night too about Lamar, the passing. There's a lot of times if you get in a situation where you have to pass the football, I don't know necessarily if it's all just him. I think too, some of it's with the OC. There needs to be, the downfield passing game's never been like implemented into their offense. It felt like, and so that kind of made it struggle. Because you watch him at Louisville, he can make the throws, but I don't know. He's got Mark Andrews, that helps. But yeah, if they don't get like 48 dudes injured this year, I think that'll help. Their defense will be good. I just forgot the guy they drafted that I was really pissed about. It seems like every year they draft a guy that it's like, how the hell did the Ravens get that guy? I have to look who
they always get someone. I remember
it's the linebacker. Wasn't the linebacker from Georgia? Didn't they get Dean?
No, they didn't get N'Kobe Dean. The Eagles got him in like the third round.
That's right. It was the Eagles. Okay.
But anyways,
who was it? No, I
do
know that I was like, wow, how did they get him? How did that fall to him or to Baltimore? I do remember that as well. And that kind of happens every year, like you said, though.
And they got Patrick Queen when we should have. And we got Jordan Love instead. Yeah, that was cool.
And I was hoping so bad that year that the Raiders got Queen.
What was
I'm going over. I just went down. I counted 12 wins. After the season that they had last year, they need Jackson to stay healthy. He got a lot of play for, depending on if they do get a contract done with them before the season starts, if they wait till the end of the year, get it during the year. He has a lot to prove. I like Bateman so much now that Brown is out, and I think that's going to be a bigger win for the team overall, having him there with Andrews. I got 12 wins. Even if the running game is not the best like it has been with them guys coming back, I think Lamar got a lot to prove this year, and I think he just goes out and sets the world on fire.
Kyle Hamilton, by the way, was the safe they got.
Yes.
And then Tyler Linderbaum later in the first round. Kind of undersized. Really good. And they got David Ojabo, second round. See what happens with him. And then that Travis Jones, tackle from UConn. He's a monster. So, defensive tackle. Anyways, moving on. Bengals, 10. Super Bowl hangover?
I believe so. I'm taking under. I know I'm probably going to be in the minority on this. I think Baltimore runs that division, and like I said, they're playing a lot of AFC teams. Do they play Raiders at all this year, or the AFC West?
I think so. I don't remember. I have to look. Yeah, no, they play the Chiefs. I know they don't play. They play the Chiefs though.
Oh, they play the Broncos.
Yeah, they do. See, they play.
I'm still looking at the Ravens schedule. I'm going to take the under. Like I said, I'm going to be in the minority. I just don't.
I have them right at 10 wins because as I kind of mentioned and alluded to last night, you just see every year with Super Bowl hangovers, especially with teams that lose. It's hard for me not to think that, especially with a really young team. And for once again, a team that has not had a ton of success year after year after year. I think it's harder for teams like that, organizations like that. But I think this organization is kind of flipped. I mean, none of us really expected them to be. What's that?
They're building an indoor practice facility finally. It's 2022. About time.
Yeah.
It's like it's warm in Cincinnati year round or something.
Yeah, right. So I think that I think that they can win the division. I think they can do that. They just have so many damn weapons. Like, I mean, that receiving core is Tyler Boyd would be a solid number 2 on a lot of teams.
I can't wait for them to not be able to pay T. Higgins and then he can be a Packer.
Yeah,
for the last few years in his career.
That would be great. I just think they have too many weapons. I mean, their one big downfall that everyone talks about is their offensive line. They went out and really, really, really bolstered their offensive line.
Oh, yeah, they did.
To do what they have to do to keep Burrow upright. I think their defense got better. I think they got better as a team, and they went to the Super Bowl last year. So it's hard for me to say they can't get more than 10 wins. But at the same time, I think that year after year we see teams when they get beat in the Super Bowl that they have a tough time to come back and be really successful and get back at it again. So, and especially out of young teams. I mean, it's just one of those things, young teams with not so consistent organizations, which is what the Bengals are right now. Will they get consistent the next 3 or 4 years? If they can afford to pay all these guys, yeah, they will, because they have that much talent. But right now, I think that they're going to be right there with Baltimore to win the division. I don't know who will win it, but I have them both at 10 wins.
Well, if you sit here and look at their schedule, I'm seeing 9 wins all the way up to week 14. Then they got to play Tampa Bay, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens. The Patriots is in there. Is that the Patriots?
Yep.
That could go either way, but if they win that Patriots game, then they're sitting at 10 wins. But that's a tough end going into the playoffs too. If they're going for to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
I like the addition of Lyle Collins and whoever else. I can't remember their offensive lineman. They got Daxton Hill, like I said last night, probably my favorite player in the draft. That's who I wanted the Packers to take at 22. Jesse Bates is probably not going to be a Bengal after this year, so he probably I could see him playing even better than he's been playing.
That's where he's going.
Contract somewhere. What'd you say?
He's going right here, Jesse Bates.
No, he's not.
I'm just saying. Watch.
Calling
it now.
But Daxton Hill will step in there, no problem, because he's a monster. I don't know. I want to believe in him, but I think there's a stat you hear that if the first time you go to the Super Bowl you lose, getting back there is not. And people act like it's like, oh, they'll be back. Well, maybe not.
No,
it's the NFL is so
difficult.
Hard.
Yeah. And that's why I know that we mentioned this last year in the playoffs. Like, that's why Brady is just on a different level because of what he's done year after year after year after year. Because it just because you make it to the Super Bowl does not mean, and you bring everyone back and you bolster your O-line, you improve your places where you struggled last year, does not mean you have an opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl or even get back to the championship game or even make the playoffs. I mean, the NFL is it's so difficult to do what people and what Brady did year after year. So it's hard. I get it. I understand.
So moving on to the Steelers, Mitch Berg or Mason Rudolph Berg, maybe. They're over under 7. I got them at 3 wins. I'll be honest. I think they're going to be terrible, regardless of who starts at quarterback. I don't know. Mitch has looked terrible. Their offensive line stinks. Somehow Najee Harris can run the ball because he's that good. Deontay is upset. I don't think he's going to get paid, and they don't do contracts in the season. They don't. That's just what the Steelers do. Their defense will be very good still, but I don't know. I mean, they have a tough schedule too, and it's not. I just don't see him being very good at all.
They're saying that this will be the first losing season for Tomlin.
Yeah,
he's still going to Hall of Fame. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think if they win games, it's going to be 4-3. I mean, I just don't see them scoring. I mean,
I don't know
the only way they're going to score is to get 2 safeties. I just don't. I mean, it's going to be I don't see it. Their offense is atrocious to me. I think they got a couple good players in Deontay and Claypool was, his rookie season looked really good.
Pickens will be cool. That'll be fun.
He's just kind of, I don't know.
Freiermuth.
Freiermuth looked really good last year, but I just don't think their quarterback room is very solid, and I don't think their offense in general is very scary or good. So I have them under. I have them at 6 wins.
They better hope they get a lot of strip sacks or something, and return those for touchdowns. That's the only way they're scoring.
Yeah.
You got them under, Rich?
Yeah, I'm going under. Defenses win games, so maybe they pull full out for them, but that's about it. So
I don't know if defense wins 8 games. Not in that division.
Nah, they're definitely going under.
All right, let's get to Rich's division. AFC West, the fun one. I saved your Raiders for last. Unless you want to do it first.
We're good. We'll finish strong.
So Broncos, they got them at 10. I don't know. It's so hard. That whole division's hard to do because you don't know what's really going to happen. Is Russ going to cook? Who knows what Nathaniel Hackett's offense is going to look like? I assume it'll look like Green Bay's. And is Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton, are they actually good? We don't even know. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, they've never had a quarterback, and Teddy Two Gloves was usually a guy that did things to not lose games. He wouldn't win you games, but he wouldn't lose games. Last year he was losing in games, but it's like those guys aren't even open. It felt like sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. I guess we'll find out if KJ Hamler's good because Tim Patrick's done. I love Javonte Williams. I do. And their defense is good. I got them over, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, as I said last night, I am not on this hype train. I don't buy it. I don't think Russ looks as good as what everyone thinks. I think he's lost a little zip on his throws. Do I think he can still throw the deep ball with the best of everyone? Yes, he can.
That big old rainbow that just like drops right in Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, gosh, it's in everyone's lap every time. It's awesome. I mean, it's super impressive. But I think like him getting out of the pocket and spinning around and trying to throw on the run anymore, I just don't think he can do it. Like, and last year I witnessed him, try to throw 22-yard outs and they're he's throwing ground balls. And I know he didn't have a good team last year. He still had 2 really good wide receivers last year. But Russ is a guy I've always been a fan of. I just think he's taken a little bit of a dip the last couple of years. Now that could be just because his team was not good. But you're going into a division where whether your team's good or not, you gotta show out and you gotta ball like you used to. You can't rely on your running game and your defense and all that stuff, even though I think those are their 2 strongest aspects of their team. In that division, you're going to have to score, and you're going to have to score in a hurry. And we've seen that Russ can get out. He can get out of the pocket and scramble and make big plays. I just don't think, Jerry Jeudy, I thought, was one of the best route runners coming out of college. Last year they're like, hey, this guy can route run with the best of them with Diggs and Devontae and all that stuff. You just never got to see it. Cortland Sutton, everyone has a man crush on this guy this year. I know neither of these guys have played with good quarterbacks before, but either is Allen Robinson. There's a lot of good receivers that have never played with good quarterbacks that have still excelled. And I think that the hype is super exciting for Denver, and I cannot buy it. Now, I could be 1,000,000% wrong because Russ is Russ. And they do have talent in places. I'm a huge Javonte Williams fan. I think Melvin Gordon is a great, contract, good compliment for him. Hopefully they don't use Melvin Gordon like they did last year and sit Javonte. So I think that there's some things that they have with their team that are really solid. I think their defense is good. But I cannot in this division, I just cannot get them past 9 wins.
Well, and real quick before Rich, like the AFC West, those defenses build their teams. They were building them to stop the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is a better version of what Russ used to be.
Yeah.
The defense, like they're ready for that.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just going to do your backyard football. You like said, spin around one time, you get 2 extra seconds and you launch it downfield. Like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. And one thing also I made a note of, their last 3 games to end the season are at the Rams, at the Chiefs, and home against the Chargers.
Solid. That's great.
That is difficult to do when you're fighting to get in the playoffs in the toughest division the NFL has seen in years. So I cannot get them past 9 wins.
Rich?
Yeah, to me, I'm just gonna go straight into. I see this whole division 10 wins. Everybody in this division right there at 10 wins, and if I break down my rules based off of that and everything, I'm always gonna take the under and stuff like that. So Broncos, I'm taking under just like what I see 9 wins and stuff. I can see that it's gonna be a bloodbath. I mean, just within them, and then on top of that, they have to play Rams. They all have to play the Rams, the 49ers. Obviously, I'm not worried about Seattle. And
Who
then
knows what the Cardinals are going to be?
Cardinals. Is that? I mean, that's another tough division. It's like they're playing in 2 tough divisions the whole season. Those 2 divisions are going to just brutalize each other. I just see it's a straight 10 all the way across for all teams and everything. With so easy with me, I could say push it on, but I'm going to take the under on this one.
Yeah, last year too. I'm pretty sure like the 4 leading tacklers on the defense for the Broncos were their corners and safeties. Like that's not a recipe for success. Well, sustained success. You know, like you don't want guys getting to the second level over and over and over.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I'm not that smart, but I do know that. So,
yeah.
Chiefs, they're on here. They have 10.5. Last night, where that site Chefs had, like, I'm pretty sure the Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs were all 10.5, but they're
10 or 10.5. Yeah. Yep.
They have the Chiefs at 10.5. I got them over. I don't know if I feel like I'm going to change that. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I think that Isaiah Pacheco kid or whatever from Rutgers, I feel like he might be the starting running back for that team because CH isn't good. They said that kid's like super quick, very explosive. I don't know. Maybe he won't be that good, but they said he looked pretty good. So I don't know. Juju is not Tyreek. MVS also not Tyreek. Sky Moore is hurt. Justin Ross, unfortunately, I don't think he'll ever play. He's not going to be as good as he was his freshman year. I don't know if he'll ever play football again, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I guess I think I need to change it to the under. I don't think they'll win 10.5 games.
Yeah, I'm going under too, just based off the theory that I just.
Like you said, though, Rich, I'm going to take 10 games.
Yeah, 10 games is, like I said, is going to be a push because, like I said, I'll say the same thing over. It's that division and then the division that they all have to play against, which is the Rams, 49ers, and Arizona. I'm not throwing Seattle in there. That's why it's you always say it when beginning of the season when you're doing over and unders, you always take the under and everything. And can you see all the teams? These teams making? How many teams do you see making out of this division playoffs?
I mean, 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would. You tend to think 3 are right off the bat. 2. I mean, 2 minimum. So it's. I mean, 3 for sure. Yeah,
they're going to be sitting at 10. I mean, it's just and it's going to be an exciting 10. Don't get that. That's the fun thing about it is that they're all going to be exciting 10-win games and stuff like that between all these games and everything. And even the losses are going to be freaking on the edge. Freaking, it's going to go. It could go either way on any of these. So, like I said, 10.5. They're giving that half. I got to take the under with the Kansas City.
I don't think any AFC West team sweeps an opponent. To be honest with you,
no, I don't think so either.
I don't think that happens. Abe,
Nope.
What do you think?
I got them under. I have them at 9-8 also, and the only reason why is they start their season with at Arizona, the Chargers, which we know that they kind of struggle with even at home, at Indianapolis, at Tampa Bay, Las Vegas, Buffalo, at San Francisco. So those first 7 games, I mean, they could legitimately be 2-5 or 3-4.
And they don't count our math anymore. That's huge.
Yeah, we talked about that last night. I they still have Pat Mahomes, and he's still really, really good, and they still have Kelsey. They still have a great coach, Andy Reid. They're still the Chiefs, and so kind of like what I said about the Browns earlier, about like the Browns are the Browns. It's opposite of this saying the Chiefs are the Chiefs because the Chiefs have established an identity, and it's hey, we saw them struggle last year in the middle of the season, and I'm like maybe Pat Mahomes, maybe this Chiefs team isn't that good, and then guess what? They went on a little run. And they made a heck of a run in the playoffs. So they're still the Chiefs. And so I think that 9, I have them at 9 wins. And the only reason I have them at 9 is because of their first 7 games. I mean, I would easily be able to put them at 10 or 11. But that first 7 games to start the year, like I said, at Arizona, Chargers, at Indy, at Tampa, Las Vegas, Buffalo, at San Francisco. I mean, that's a super hard start to the season. Especially when you have new receivers. I mean, you have, I mean, Hardman is not new, obviously, but you have MVS and you have Sky Moore. I think people are just going to sit and key on Kelsey like crazy. Like Nate mentioned, they just don't have a running game that's good. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, like I said, they don't have a running game that's very good. So I want to get them to 10 or 11 wins because they're the Chiefs, but I just can't because of that first 7 games to start the season.
Yeah, I don't. It's going to be different, I think. It'll be a struggle. Chargers, 10. I got them over. I got them in like 13 games. But I got a crush on the Chargers a little bit, so it's kind of hard. But I did it a couple times going through it and looking. I'm like, I don't know. I think they're probably the only one. I have the most confidence in that team. And I say that reluctantly now because of how bad their defense was last year. And I said it last night. Brandon Staley's supposed to be a defensive guy, and his defense was dog shit. That's confusing to me. And they need to stop going for it on 4th down every time. Jesus Christ.
Well, maybe that's why they bolstered their defense like crazy. He has a little bit of confidence in them. So
yeah, well, I mean, we'll see who Khalil Mack is. I mean, he's kind of worn out, but maybe he can be half as good as he used to be. So Rich, what do you think? You still same thing, 10 wins?
No, actually, this is one I'm gonna go over. It's gonna be this, and it's gonna be the same reason what Abe was talking about with the Kansas City about their first 8 games. They probably have one of the easiest 8-game schedules starting out. That's going to booster them and build that confidence and everything. This is the one team that I could see being over that I'm going to take over the 10 wins. Look, I hate all the teams in the division and stuff like that, but they did so much this offseason and everything. And if I had to pick a lesser evil, it would be the Chargers.
I'm excited to watch that secondary. Like, we say Asante Samuel Jr., J.C. Jackson, Derwin James, Nasir Adderley. I'm forgetting one. Who's the other corner? I just forgot who it was. Doesn't matter. I mean, like, dude, literally, like, a couple of those guys are like perennial all pros. Derwin James is going to get paid a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
I mean, and then of course you got Bosa. Offensive line it could be one of the best ones in football. Corey Linsley's probably one of the better centers. I mean, they're very good. And Austin Eckler and
Isaiah Spiller.
There you go.
Yeah, Spiller's had a heck of a couple weeks, they said. Yeah, I have them over too. I mean, all of us have them over because they're a fun, kind of a quote unquote sexy team that people are kind of thinking were maybe like the Bengals last year that have a lot of firepower. Obviously, a lot of people didn't. I shouldn't say at the beginning of the season because a lot of people thought that of the Bengals like going into the playoffs, not at the beginning of the season. But everyone loves Herbert. I just think their team's good. They're going to be tough to beat. The one thing that I mentioned last year when we were on the show, the one thing that scares the heck out of me is their coach. I just think sometimes he does things that just you take the ball out of your playmakers' hands or put them in a bad situation. And then all of a sudden they come to the sideline hanging their head when you're a second-year quarterback now third. I just don't think he just made too many dumb calls last year, and I hope that he's not that way this year. I hope he does not hold them back.
Yeah, it's all the analytical stuff, and I mean I get it. There's a place for that, but dude, sometimes you just punt the goddamn football, or kick a field goal.
Yeah,
I mean, let your defense play. Granted, their defense was bad, so maybe you didn't want to. But I mean, it's like 4th and 13, and you're on your own 25-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't Madden. Like, it's not Tecmo Bowl where you can like drop back and let it fly 60 yards and get a first down every time. It's not. I mean, that's not the way it is, and it's almost like that's kind of how he coached a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I was, I love the aggressive nature. I love that style of like, hey, let's go for it. Like, there's, and for a coach to say like, there's never a time where I don't think my quarterback cannot get a first down. There's something to say about that. Like, I really like that aspect of it. But don't be stupid. I mean, there's a fine line where you got to draw that line and say, okay, I like the aggressiveness, but at the same time,
it's like this is live to fight another day.
Yes, we have a good enough defense. We have a good special teams. We can do this, and just get him the ball back even quicker. So he just can't lose them game for him.
It's funny to me. Yeah, like I said, I've always said the best way to win a game is not to lose it. So like literally, stop doing dumb shit to lose the game. Like you said, got to live to fight another day. And it's funny to me, like 15 years ago, if a coach had been going for 4th down that often and not winning, like he's fired.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
people would be
absolutely.
like, what the hell is this guy? Like, who is this dipshit? Like, what are you doing? And now
Yeah.
it's like, well, the analytics say it's okay. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever, dude. Like, I don't know. All right, moving on. Raiders. Rich, you
Let's
want to go
finish
last?
strong, guys. Let's finish
Or do you
strong.
want to go? Do you want to say yours first? Or do you want us to go?
I'll go ahead and start out. Look,
Okay.
just as like I was saying, every team in this league is a 10 team win. They could easily win 10 games and everything. With that being said and everything, I am taking the over, but it will be a tough 10 wins and everything. They got a rough start at the beginning. Middle of their schedule is a little bit easier and stuff, and then they got a tough schedule at the end and everything. I think just like what you guys were saying, I think all teams kind of split their each wins. They'll be 1-1 with the divisions. I just, man, I hate doing this because everybody knows how I'm a homer for this team and everything. But it's
we
so
are
much
too. So
Yeah, dude.
it's so much
if
easier
you're
this
not a
year and
homer, what
stuff
the hell
like
kind of
that to
fan are
see
you?
what they've done and everything. Just their offense alone. I don't see any other team that has a stronger four core. You could say 4 core or 4 5 as far as offense and everything. The line, that line scares me. They boosted their defense and everything. We just don't know how their defense is going to mold, and we just don't know how they're going to be under coach. I mean, we got to wait and see. It depends on how they look with their coach and everything. I'm right now. I'm already betting putting some money on Derek Carr for MVP. Could easily be that there. You know, when you go from one Hall of Famer to another Hall of Famer,
Don't
QB and everything,
Stop
it's
it.
just
Stop it. Devontae has to say that, right? They gave him that money.
yeah.
He can't be like, Derek Carr's not as good as Aaron Rodgers, but he's pretty
Yeah.
good. Like, he can't say that. It's like Tyreek's got to say that. Oh,
Yes.
throws just the ball goes home. So shut the fuck up. No, he doesn't.
I thought it was awfully ironic that Rodgers and Devontae were playing golf like 2 days after it too. Almost
That's
like,
funny.
hey,
I
I'm
love
going to
it.
say this stuff in front of, so Rodgers is going to hear about it, and then
Yeah.
we're going to be on the golf course and talk smack about it.
Yeah,
I'm
not a Derek Carr hater by any means. I do think he's good. You know, and I'm excited to see, you know, like I guess you want to say who made who. I know Abe and I've talked about 1,000 times, like to see how Devontae does without him. Devontae's going to be open. He's one of the best route runners there is. He doesn't have the speed of Tyreek, but he'll be open. You know, and it's going to be fun to watch. I got him over too. I think I said 10 wins. You know, they're their second time being over 500 in a long time. No offense, Rich. But you know, they're good. They've done a shit ton of stuff to be better. I'm excited to see Josh McDaniels. I hope he doesn't try to like make things, you know, like the quote unquote Patriot way too early, because a lot of guys, there's, you know, some of those guys, like you hear about it so much, you know, like Matt Patricia went to the Lions and tried to like run things like Bill did. And when you don't have like the clout that Bill does, not everybody wants to buy in. And if you're not winning football games, granted, Detroit and Las Vegas are two completely different things, but you know, when you're not winning in, guys aren't going to buy in. And, you know, I don't, Josh McDaniels doesn't seem like that. I mean, he's very sharp, obviously. You know, and I see them winning games. But, you know, it does concern me a little bit just because you hear that so often, you know, from the Belichick tree, whether it was Brian Flores. I love Brian Flores. You know, any guys like that. It seems like there is some growing pains or whatever you want to call it. But I feel like McDaniels has a better situation than any of those other guys ever had. You know, so.
Yeah, I have them at 10 wins also, and I think this is a really stacked offense. I mean, I think your positional players are absolutely loaded. I mean, Devontae is he's been one of my favorites since he got rid of kind of the drop season, all that stuff. When we were I remember Nate and I were leaving a Packers game. We're like, he stinks. Like, he ain't any good.
Yeah, get rid of this dude. I remember saying it Monday Night Football against the Falcons.
And then he just got
terrible.
Then he just worked his tail off and got to be the best that he is, and you know, now he's arguably the best receiver in football. So, I don't think he gets the shares that he got in Green Bay. I mean, you're now you got to share it with with Waller and with
Renfro.
You know, Renfro, and so I just don't think that the numbers are going to quite be there. But I think this team is really good. I think that, you know, last year they had a lot of adversity, not just like in the locker room, outside the locker room, but even on the field. I mean, we saw them come back in a lot of games late in the fourth quarter So they had some exciting wins where they, were down early, and when you show that perseverance, and Carr's been through that in a very tough division, I think that says a lot. And it's only something you can build on. So when you have that much adversity and you can persevere through that, and then all of a sudden you really load up your team even further for the next year, I just think those are positive vibes for their team. So
and your kicker is really good.
Yeah. Yes.
I like that guy.
Yes. Yeah. Me too. He's really good.
Man, my ego right now is just like.
Yeah, we're really making. I'm surprised Rich's head's fitting on the screen still.
The one thing I will tell you, Rich, the one thing I'm worried about is, and this just kind of crossed my mind, last night when I was going through this. The one thing I was kind of worried about is Max Crosby. Like, I think he is an absolute beast. I just don't know. I'm scared that he's going to have a year like the who was the end for the Commanders. I can't think of his name right now.
Chase.
Who? Chase. Yeah. Where Chase was just absolutely, an unstoppable beast one year, and then the next year he just kind of got shut down. I think Crosby is better than that. I'm not saying he's better than Chase, but I just think he's better than that. But that's one thing that kind of worries me, and just kind of keep an eye on, is that, what if he gets double teamed like crazy and they try to, force other people. I don't know if that happens. I don't know a ton about their defense. Because their offense is
Chandler Jones.
Yeah, their offense is so ecstatic. They're so electric that you just like, that's all I focus on is their offense. So I just think they're going to be a fun team to watch. I think that they've improved a lot. They've gone through a lot last year. So I have them at 10 wins and getting second in the division.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I like Max Crosby. The thing, like I said it a lot last year at Chase Young before he got hurt. Like, he literally just runs past the quarterback, like nonstop. Like, every play runs past the quarterback. Like, all you're doing is making your team play a man down when you do that. Like, stop. Like, it doesn't do anything.
Yep.
And I don't. Max Crosby, like, in the games that I've watched, like I don't think I've ever seen him do that.
No, I don't see that either. I just, the comparison is not there. It's just one of those things where you have a dominant D end one year, and then all of a sudden it's just like, wait, what happened to this guy? So
they're shifting their coverage every single time.
Yep. And you're the focus of stopping that defensive player every week. So it's just, people have a lot more time instead of preparing for it for 3 or 4 days. Now you're preparing for that guy because of how dominant he was. Yep. You have offensive line coaches preparing for him, in February. So that's one thing that's just, and I think he's so good. I think he's so solid. Like you said, that he attacks the quarterback, that he's not going to be lost in plays. But it is one of those things where you're just like, well, maybe he got to get schemed.
Here's the defense. So, you got Crosby. You brought in Jones. You still have Perryman at linebacker. They brought in Roxanne at cornerback.
Hell yeah.
The big name that they're talking about right now is Nate Hobbs. He is lighting it up in freaking cut. Even against Devontae Adams. I know it's practice and everything. Yeah, practice, but he has looked real solid. You got a Morig that second season in is going to take another step up and everything. They got pieces and everything, and then they brought in some other quiet pieces that are going to be there for the backfill and everything. So they built. Everybody's talking about this offense and everything. I still think this is going to be one of the highest scoring divisions, where just even with the Chargers as good as they are and stuff like that, when you have offenses as good as you got with this division, there's going to be some high scoring games and everything. But their defense could sneakily be pretty good this year.
Yeah, I think
they should be able to score. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. So that's our AFC preview, I guess. Next week we'll talk about the NFC. And just keep it rolling from there. The regular season is, hell, we got football tomorrow night.
Yeah.
When people are listening to this, we have football tonight.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's doesn't really count, but it's still football.
It's still football.
Yeah.
It is still football.
Hell yeah. Anything else, boys?
No. Solid night. Glad to see you guys back. I'm glad we're back doing our show.
It's good to be back. Yeah. I'm excited for this year.
Check us out on Twitter at toaststyles.com. You can find all of us. Rich at Frito Bandito _FF. Myself at Nate _Dirt19. Abe is at MVINFF. Check us out. Let us know what you want to hear. Talk about it. Give us your ideas. Apple Podcast, please give us a 5-star review. We would really appreciate that. Check us out on all our platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Podbean, Twitch, Spotify. Like I said, like, subscribe, appreciate it. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/titles. And I think that's it. So we will see you next week. Good luck if you're betting on the game tomorrow. I don't suggest that.
Go
But
check some articles out at toilets2titles.com.
Well, yeah, dude, the guy, I will say that they've been writing articles like crazy. It seems like every single day. And I know that Sean Mander, I can't think of his number for Twitter. He's doing a 32 in 32 days, writing an article on every team. Check that out. Everybody's writing stuff right now. I haven't been, but I'm not much of a writer. So yeah, trying to get 1,000 subs. That would be great. But again, we appreciate listening, checking us out, and we'll see y'all next week. Have a good night.
Peace.